What's going on, everyone? What is going on? What is going on? Happy Friday. Stoked to be back on the live stream. And today we're going to be talking about something very fun, which is which platforms earn you the most money. How should you think about, you're on the content hamster wheel. You've got a primary platform, but it's like, I want to be making money elsewhere. I want to diversify my creator business. How can I do that? How can I think about being strategic? Because I can't be everywhere at once. So I'm excited to talk about that. If you're tuning in, let me know in the chat where you're tuning in from. I am live on TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn today. Everywhere you can possibly imagine. Let me pull up the IG chat because I'm there as well. We've got a break for mommy, Dal Jamara. Thank you so much, y'all, for tuning in. Okay, so let's dive right into it. Because this is going to be a hot topic here. Okay, first and foremost, again, I think it's really common for creators to feel super burnt out, right? Like you're on a hamster wheel, pumping out content to just maintain a presence on every platform. So you very quickly become very average at everything and stellar at nothing. And so the question is like, how can you figure out which platforms you should be focusing on and which you should ignore, at least for the time being? And so I see Fernanda in the chat here. What's up, Fernanda? She says, hi, oh my OMG, I just posted this exact question. Fernanda, where do you think I got the inspiration for this live stream today? It was from you. So thank you for asking that question, because I think this is something on a lot of creators' minds, but not something that folks talk about a lot. So thank you for asking that question. We had a very vibrant discussion about this in my private group. When you join my Brand Deal Wizard program, you get access to a private group, and we talk about behind the scenes type stuff like this. But this was in particular something that I wanted to focus in on today. We got George in the IG chat. What's up, George? And DN fam, fourth born child. Thanks for tuning in. Okay, so first of all, there's two main it's important to consider two main considerations, which is mainly money and influence, right? Money versus followers, right? It's like, can you have both when you're trying to grow a new platform? Can you think about the money, or you do just have to focus on follower growth? And so really, in my view, there's really only two things that matter. The first is, where are your followers spending the most time? You're probably starting to see, your followers may be mentioning in your comment section on your primary platform, like, oh, I saw this video on TikTok, or, oh, I saw this video on Pinterest, or, oh, I saw this post in a newsletter that I'm following, or something, right? Folks may be starting to talk about, or maybe you're just generally seeing in pop culture and the media, this new platform, this new buzzy platform that everyone's talking about. And you're trying to figure out like, oh man, like, do I really need to be on that platform? And so, but it's not just about what you want. It's really about what your followers want. Maybe it's, you have mainly a Gen Z audience, or maybe you have mainly a millennial audience or a Gen X audience, or whatever it is. And you're trying to figure out like, where should I actually be living? If you are a Gen X audience, you're probably going to want to be on Facebook, because that's where your audience is. Right. In the beginning, TikTok was all about, Gen Z. That was like the Gen Z platform. It was Musical.ly before that. But then more and more, you're seeing, creators and viewers of all ages on TikTok, millennials, Gen Z, it doesn't matter, Gen X. Right. And so again, like, let's actually quickly talk about the first point, because it can be tricky, because sometimes there are new platforms that come along that are like growing really quickly, but there's no obvious way to make money from it, right? And TikTok is a great example of that, because, like, there was no TikTok creator fund initially, right? No brands were really comfortable spending money on advertising there yet, whether it was like the advertising, formats that TikTok had, or like actually sponsoring creators. But there was a lot of attention and a lot of eyeballs on it. Right. And not to mention that there was like a risk a few years ago of it getting banned. Right. So as a creator, it's like, man, that seems like a lot of risk. What if I invest all this time and energy to, grow my following there, and then it completely disappears? So look, I didn't say that decisions like this are easy. Right. But, choosing to spend time doing one thing almost always will be at the expense of something else. Right. So I think that's the first consideration, is like, where are your followers spending time? And if it's increasingly on this one other platform, you're going to have to give it a second look, right? No Fury says, do you feel like TikTok has longevity? It's crazy how many modern day brand commercials I see that have included TikTok content and sounds. Yeah, it's a great question. Thanks for the question on TikTok. The one like concern that I have with TikTok more generally is less about the longevity of the platform. I do think it's going to be around. It's a juggernaut right now. Pretty much everyone's there. The main concern I have is being a creator on TikTok in particular. Once you achieve enough like critical mass, you tend to like have the ability to like move your audience elsewhere on YouTube, on a newsletter, on, you know, IG, whatever. But it's that kind of micro to mid-tier range of creators that I'm most concerned about on TikTok, because at least in my experience in talking with lots of people who just generally like, you know, people who use the platform, they almost never go to a specific creator's page. They will always essentially just do what the TikTok For You page tells them to do, and they just keep swiping, right? And so how this manifests is like, oh, yeah, oh, there was that one video I wanted to see, or this one person made a video I want, but I can't remember their username. That's like a very common refrain that I hear is like, oh, I can't remember that TikTok creator's username or their name or something like that. And that's like really concerning to me as a creator, because it's less, at that point, it's less about following particular creators on TikTok, and it's about just going there to be entertained, right? And so it's like whatever TikTok serves you, that's what I'm going to watch that day. So with YouTube, it's a little bit like different of an expectation. You actually go and you'll spend, you know, 10, 15 minutes on, you know, watching a video from someone. And so the expectation with long form content is just inherently different. Again, I don't think that this is necessarily just a TikTok problem. I think this is a IG Reels problem. I think it's a YouTube Shorts problem. It's a attention span problem with short form content. So again, like that's really kind of my main thought process. Like if I was a creator, I would be most concerned about diversifying my presence and building a robust audience elsewhere as well, so that I don't have this kind of like all eggs in one basket type of risk. Again, that's just kind of like my one perspective on it. But I do think, again, like I think once you reach scale, like even 50, 100,000 followers on TikTok, like your first priority should be taking people off platform and like, you know, owning that audience with an email list, or at least, you know, bring them to other platforms. So hopefully that answers your questions. Yeah. And she says, I agree. Thanks for answering. Of course. Okay. So Daniel Agachi, what's going on, Daniel? Thank you for tuning in the IG chat. Daniel just hired me for a one-on-one consulting call recently. And it was amazing. So he is an incredible creator, has a giant audience on TikTok too. So definitely check him out. And we've got the Salty Fork Company joins Second Chapter Home, Gutsy Homemaker, AJ Official, Hello Happy Mom, Mary Hiking. I was just DMing with you, Mary. Thanks for tuning in. Hey, Hannity, what's going on, Hannity? Okay, so second thing about this, let me take a swig. The second thing about this, what we talked about is like, where are your ideal brand partners working with the most creators in your niche? So the reason I bring this up is that, like, if you're making a significant amount of money working with brands, if they start, you know, partnering with a bunch of people on TikTok or creators who have newsletters or something like that, maybe it's time for you to start exploring those other formats, right? And unfortunately, what this also means is that you might have to start getting comfortable with formats that you've never tried before, like short form video, if you want to continue to maintain relevance on social media, right? This is something that I have struggled with. If you're like in the YouTube sphere at all, if you know who Patty Galloway is, he is like this guru when it comes to like YouTube growth strategies. He's really incredible. And my wife April and I actually hired him a couple months ago, maybe, I don't know, last 6 months ago, maybe. And we hired him to kind of analyze our YouTube channels. And one of the things that he said that resonated with me the most was he said that one of the primary reasons that creators who have been around a while get frustrated is because they are still creating content that worked in 2018. And that like felt, that was like right in the feels right there. I was like, wow, I definitely like can identify with that, you know, because like platforms are changing very quickly and you can't expect to do the same thing over and over again and still see the same results. Right. And so that, like, that's why you have to stay like constantly stay updated with the latest changes and blog posts from the platforms on new features and so on. Like Adam Mosseri, who is like the head of Instagram, he posts these like incredible updates about what's going on with the platforms on Twitter, on Instagram. And it's like really important to follow people like that because they give you this insight into like what's coming down the pipeline. Like he just announced like just 2 days ago, I think, that, Instagram is starting to experiment with subscriptions. So you're able to actually charge your followers to, have like a close friends group or something, or see exclusive content. So it's like, wow, that's something like you probably want to experiment with. Like, what does that do? If you're kind of a first mover with some of the features on these platforms, what does that do? You almost always know. Like, so for example, do you remember when Facebook started really promoting live heavily? In your Facebook notification feed, anyone that was going live, they would be like instantly at the top of your feed, right? So like the platforms always want to encourage creators to try the newest, newfangled features, right? And so as a creator, it behooves you to stay updated with these types of things, because if you can jump on those things, then you may get this like incredible artificial boost, and where the platform is just like juicing your page because you are trying the new thing. The exact same thing happened with Reels. When Instagram, like even now, like that's really the only way to grow on Instagram right now is to be doing Reels, right? You can't be posting stories like, in feed stuff. Like, yes, you still have to do that stuff, but for growth, it's like very easy like to see. If you go into I was looking at my wife's Instagram analytics recently, and if you can do this yourself, like if you have Instagram, go into your audience insights and it'll tell you like over the last 7 days, it tells you like your, account reach, and it'll show you followers versus people who are not following you, like reach as a percentage. There's like a bar chart, and it's like so obvious that like your feed posts, it's like almost 98%. I mean, this is just at least for my wife's account, but like this is like duplicated with a lot of other creators I've talked to. It's like 98% for her feed posts were just her existing followers. And then her reels, it was like 60% followers and 40% people who are not following you. So it's like a very obvious picture right there. Like reels, if you want to get in front of audiences who are not following you, to incentivize them into, actually following you, like you got to like be doing reels, because that is the main thing that Instagram is pushing right now. So again, like it really comes down to like staying updated, like doing research, like figuring out who is, the head of Instagram. Let me go follow that person, right? On Twitter, on Instagram, or whatever, to like see what they're doing. Set Google alerts for, or like, follow the like, for example, the YouTube blog, like they update stuff all the time there with like new features that creators should be paying attention to. Like they have a shorts fund now, right? Like that should be very obvious. They just announced that they are no longer going to be funding YouTube originals. They're only these big shows that they were creating on YouTube. They're only going to be allocating funds now for the YouTube Black Fund, YouTube Kids, and the Shorts Creator Fund. Those are the only 3 things that they're going to be investing like hundreds of millions of dollars to. So like that should be a very obvious thing to you as a creator, like where the focus is as a platform. They're going all in on short form content. So like it's just very, very critical to like stay on top of these trends, because if you're making content that worked in 2018 and just feeling very frustrated and your reach is going lower and lower organically, it's obvious why you're not seeing growth and why you're seeing your influence like wean over time. And so like, again, anyone who's listening to this, I would heavily encourage you to like have that mindset that you can't just kind of rest on your laurels and hope that it's all going to be okay. By the way, if you have any questions for me, anything is fair game: business of being a creator, negotiating, brand deals, I'm happy to help with all that. I had a comment here in the IG chat. Hello, Happy Mom said, Reels for sure, especially since the CEO just said IG is no longer a photo sharing app. You're leaning into video. Exactly. You got to listen to the words that these people are using. They're telling you this, right? You can't just be like lean on photos where, people who were, kind of, very comfortable crafting this amazing aesthetic, and it's like posing, with your like 100K like gold balloons that you're holding like this, like, right? It's like, right. And the other thing too, like not to like throw shade on anyone who did that, because like, I'm sure we probably did that at some point. But, the other thing to remember is that, like, oh, I hear my wife. She might be about to make a cameo. Maybe not, but she's singing. I knew it. I knew you were gonna make a cameo because I heard you singing. Come here, baby. Come sit down. I'm live on TikTok too.
I know. I saw you on TikTok. I wanted to see if you were interviewing.
Come sit.
I didn't want to bother you.
No, they can't see you on TikTok. Come here. Come sit on my lap. Come say hi to my boo guys. Look what I got her. I surprised her with Starbucks.
I must have done something right.
Oh, you did something real right.
Just kidding.
Real right. Oh, your hair's in my mouth. There we go.
Just kidding. Hi, friends. How are you?
Kidding, not kidding. So we're talking about how, how Patty told us when we consulted with him that, a lot of people are trying to still make videos that worked in 2018.
Yeah, that's me. I'm actually gonna film one tonight. I mean today. That's terrible. Yeah, that'd be me sometimes.
But it's just like, you listen to the CEO or the head of Instagram say, like, we're not a photo sharing app anymore. We are a video sharing
I don't
app,
appreciate that Instagram, because where do we post our photos now? Facebook. Facebook is old. I don't want to be on Facebook.
Yeah. And I was just talking about how you look at your reach, like your reels get way more exposure to people who aren't following you than your normal feed,
Yeah. Oh, can we film that TikTok idea that I have today, honey?
Yeah.
Okay, we're gonna do this funny TikTok later.
Did you guys watch our recent Instagram reel where April was pretending to be Celine Dion doing that challenge? It was amazing. I watched it over and over because April's expressions, it was everything, man. I loved it. It was so great.
Yeah. DM fam. Yes, Starbeezy. I got the phrase Starbeezy from Gabe and Chad. I love them. I love them.
Let's see. Melissa in the IG chat said, I just had an agency tell me the brand I pitched to are currently on a pause, but they want to work with me in the future. I wrote back that I would love to be considered for future partnerships. Yeah. I said my blog. What?
This nice lighting. Can I film here in your office later?
Of course you can.
I don't like these lights though.
I'll turn off the lights for you. I can make them yellow for you. No. How's your drink? Is it good?
It's really good. Dan, is this the camera you're using? Because it looked good. My skin be looking good.
I know. It's also this light. This
that
softbox
light
is really nice.
Yes.
We'll use that one
for you. Sorry. I don't know how to act when Justin gets me Starbucks. Sorry,
it's okay.
friend.
It's all right. Thanks for the cameo, boo. Thank you for the cameo. Okay. I was distracted. April. April's been doing that lately. I've been liking it.
No, it's the drop challenge.
I know you can do the drop challenge for me in private. Okay, yes. Oh, I see in the chat. Reels for me are working. Everyone's saying reels. What are you doing? Are you like making faces?
I thought you got a guest monogamy kit.
I did. Oh yeah, real quickly before I answer this question, I wanted to give a shout out real quickly. Guys, look at this. This is me. I'm speaking at the Amplify 2022 conference next week. And Thinkific, who's hosting the conference, sent me this. They had an artist make a rendition of my profile photo. Hi, bye, baby. Okay, yeah, get ready. April's gonna be filming right after this. And I thought that was so cool. And I wanted to give a shout out to the artist. Oh, the artist is let's see, Mike Brennan, MikeBrennan.me. Thank you, Mike Brennan. And they also made $100 donation to Monthly Miracles to me on my behalf because I'm speaking. So that was really, really nice. If you are not attending, I have it's free. I actually have a free ticket basically that I get for everyone. So if you want to attend, it's going to be, there's going to be 25,000 creators in attendance, 35 speakers. Yeah, so definitely DM me if you want a ticket. I'll give you the link because there's going to be tons of great. It's all about kind of diversifying your business as a creator. Thinkific is like a course and community platform. I host my course on there. And so, there's going to be a lot of panels around productizing your expertise and your knowledge and things like that too. So definitely check it out. If you want an invite, just DM me. Okay. So let me get back on track and then I'm going to answer the questions in the chat. So if you have any, I have just a few more things to say about this idea. And then I'm going to answer your question. So drop it in the chat. If you have any questions, that's what I'm here for, to answer it. Okay. So, yeah, again, platforms are changing quickly. And again, I think that the parting note here is that rather than getting frustrated, just shift your mindset to one of education and discovery. Right? Kind of the way I look at it is that we get to do this. We don't have to do this, right? Just that simple shift in mindset, right? Creating content and making money from it is amazing. I don't think we realize that often enough, and I think that part of that is being a lifelong student of the process. Okay. So much of this has to do with mindset. And so I just kind of wanted to mention that because, I just think that that's so critical, like to not be so down on yourself, not feel like, oh, I have to do this. I have to like learn short form content. Like, look, like I very much in my DNA, in my soul, feel like a YouTuber, right? Like all these other platforms, like TikTok and all this stuff, like that, by my nature, that's not like me, but I'm doing it because it's like, I know that I have to be doing it. Like there are lots of people building huge businesses on other platforms that I'm not on right now. That's one of the other reasons why I started a newsletter as well. I've never had a newsletter. I've been a creator for over a decade. And I've never had a newsletter. And yet I've grown that to over, 2,200 creators in the last year. And it's this new format. I've always loved writing, but I've never had an outlet to do that. We've always been like social media first. And recently, over the last like even week or so, I've started, writing with the help of D, who's in the chat here. I've just started writing much more like me, right? And having much more intimate conversations with other creators about what it's like being a creator. And so it's like, even today, I'm like learning and finding my voice when it comes to these types of things. And so it's like, I don't know, I just really encourage everyone to like, not feel discouraged. Like if your influence has been waning, relative to where it was in the past, like you can always grow, you can always improve, but it takes discipline and it takes a confidence that, things take time and that you have to, be patient when it comes to, finding your voice again, if you feel like you've lost it. Sweet Melly Bakery says in the chat, yes, I love the emails. Thank you, Melissa. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Moccasin Mama, thanks for joining. How do you know what age range is on the platform, says Gutsy Homemaker. It's a great question. One thing that I would recommend, is to start surveying your audience. If you have an email list, that's the easiest way to do it. But on IG stories, other than you could basically say like, hey, like if you're obviously it's not like completely scientific, but you can say a specific like poll about a platform that you're thinking of doing and be like, hey, like if you're on TikTok or if you're on Pinterest or if you're on whatever platform, how old are you? You just make it a survey, right? And then your audience, if they're starting to talk about this platform, you can just get in a sense of like, oh, like this is the ages of the people who are on that particular platform. The other thing too is that you can just like generally kind of see, like if you go and start consuming content on that platform. TikTok in the early days, it was pretty easy. Like everyone on the platform was like, a teenager or early 20s or something. So it was like very much the Gen Z platform. But now when you go on there and you consume content, there's a lot more than just that on there. Right. So a lot of it, it's just now analyzing the type of content and the types of people that are on that platform is a relatively good proxy for the ages of people who are actually consuming the content too. Because generally people tend to consume content from similar age people. Not always, but like, again, it's like a relatively good proxy. Gutsy Homeworker, does that answer your question? TC is me said, such good advice, Justin. Thank you. I don't know which part of the advice was good, but I appreciate you. Thank you. Thank you very much. I am Donarine. Thanks for tuning in. Let's see. Sweet Melissa Bakery said, what I told the agency was, if there are other brand opportunities, as in different brands you are working with and think I might be a good fit with, I would love to be considered. I was nervous to send. Yeah, Melissa, that's actually a great pivot. And I love that because very much so. Another way you could say that is like something like, rather than leaving it open-ended, because basically what you said to them right there is like, oh, they don't actually have to respond to the email that you just described to me. Like, oh, if there's other, brands that you're working with, I would love to be considered for those other opportunities. They could just choose not to respond to that email because that's just kind of like a pleasantry. It almost sounds like you're closing the door, right? You don't necessarily want to be lit. You don't want to be closing the door. What you could instead say was you just ask a direct question and you say, I would love, or basically like, what other brands are you working with? ? That's it, right? So that's an email that they kind of have to respond to if they have a good relationship with you, right? And so then once they do that, then you have the opportunity to be like, oh, that's a perfect brand for me, right? Like that would be great. Like, let's actually, let's talk about that. And then you craft a pitch around that. KM41708 said, hey, Justin, have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for tuning in on TikTok. I appreciate that. KMH family said, yes, love the newsletters. I always look forward to getting them on Thursdays. Yes, I have so much fun making them. D helps me so tremendously. I have another team member that recently brought on board named Russell, who helps me with it as well. I'm just growing the team, y'all. Excited about that. It's Aaron Chu joined as well on IG. Thank you. And Melissa said, thank you. That's so helpful. Yeah. Like a big part of it, like when you are trying to figure out how to continue a pitch or continue a conversation with a brand so that it doesn't like shut in your face, is to like not have the cadence or not have the tone of your message be feeling like it's a goodbye. A lot of creators do that where they make these like statements where it's just like you just said, Melissa. It's like, oh, like I would love to be considered for this, or it's like, here's my media kit, for your consideration, or something like that. Like the agency can just kind of choose not to respond to that because there was no direct call to action that you were making in the email, right? We talk about calls to action when you're actually doing sponsorships and things like that. Which is the brands, what they're actually wanting you to say about a sponsorship. But like you have to use calls to action when you're actually interfacing with the brand too. Because it's like, if you don't have a call to action, then there's really no direct reason that a brand actually needs to respond to you. So when you ask them a specific question, it's like, do you have any budget for Q2 activations or something like that? Or do you, what brands are you, currently representing as your agency? Or like, what marketing campaigns are you planning on running in Q3? Or like, but you're asking them something very specific and you don't like pad it up with all this other like very, fluffy language so that it allows the brand an out to like not respond to you. Yes, they could still choose not to respond to you, but you're just increasing the likelihood of them actually wanting to respond to you because you're asking them a very specific question. The other thing too is that when you give them all this fluffy language and you don't like ask them a direct question, is you're basically putting the ball in their court and you're saying like, hey, think up an idea or think up a way to like how to continue this conversation. This oftentimes happens when you're pitching a brand. It's like you say, hey, I would love to collaborate with you. Here's my channel. You're basically you're basically saying, here, brand, figure out a way for us to work together. Ball's in your court. Do all the work for me. No, that's not what you do. What you do is you tee them up a beautiful content idea on a platter. And you say, here's what I want to do. Boom, 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 boom. The investment is going to be boom. What do you think? It's one thing I teach in my Brand Deal Wizard course is this. It's called the ROPE method. So R is relevant to a campaign that they're already working on. Okay. O is organic. You're actually, you're linking them organic content that you've already posted about the brand in your pitch or relevant to the campaign that they're working on. P is persistent, right? So you're persistent when you send them the pitch and you're not just ignoring and you're not just not following up, right? You're sending the pitch and then you're following up, even if they don't respond, which is very difficult for a lot of creators. And then E is easy to execute when they say yes. So if the brand actually responds to you and they say, yeah, this sounds amazing, let's do it. You're going to be like, no, you're going to be like, okay, let's do this. Let's get the ball rolling. Let's get this contract done. I'll send you draft content in 7 days, et cetera, et cetera. Right. So I'm really excited about the next couple of videos that I have lined up. They're already filmed. They're almost done being edited. So my next 3 weeks of videos are super exciting. So the one I just released 2 days ago, if you haven't watched it, you have to watch it. It's called How I Lost $24,000 Sponsorship Fail. It was a sponsorship literally that fell apart after the brand had already agreed to it. They said that they could afford, our rate for it. And then it fell apart during the contracting phase. So I highly encourage you to watch that video. I've gotten a lot of great feedback on it. So if you want to like learn from my mistakes from, this deal that for my wife and I fell apart, definitely go watch that video. So that's that. Next week's video, I can't decide which one I'm going to put out next week, but the next 3 videos I have are how to pitch a brand start to finish. So this has been a highly requested video. It's like, what do I actually do? Like, I'm ready. I want to pitch a brand, but I don't even know where to start. Like, how do I find brands to partner with? How do I what do I say? How do I, figure out who to contact, all this stuff. So it literally is like a 101 video about how to pitch. So you're definitely going to want to check that video out. The next video I have is called Why Brands Ghost Creators. This is another highly requested video, is like I pitched the brand, or I'm like, in the middle of a negotiation and then they just ghost me. They like stop responding. It's like very frustrating, right? It's like, man, like I thought this was going well. And then now here they are not responding. And so it's like, why is that? Why do they do that? And so I give you 10 reasons why that is. And I think it's very, very, it's gonna be very helpful for a lot of folks. And then the last one is how to survive your first negotiation. This is another I'm really excited about this video because, I think a lot of creators are very nervous when it comes to like, whether a brand says like, oh, hey, I want to like hop on a call and like talk through this, or they, they're nervous the whole contracting phase. And so I just kind of wanted to go like through a step-by-step of like, how do you actually survive. I say the word survive your first negotiation because I think that's, that's how it feels sometimes. It's like, how do I actually, like go into this and not like get like mutilated by the brand, who is like obviously much more experienced in this, working with creators and all this stuff too. So really excited for those next 3 videos. And if you have any other video ideas that you would love me to cover, I have a lot of, videos on my channel all about sponsorships and things like that too. But if there's something that you really have a dying question about and you want me to cover, please leave it in the chat, because all of my video ideas come from you all. Okay. So if there's something that you want me to chat about, please let me know. TC is me says, these all sound like great videos. Jercel says, I can't wait for that video. So exciting. Blended Beauty joined. Thanks for tuning in. We have a question in the IG chat, or the YouTube chat. How would you politely turn down an offer? This brand that Maya, hold on, I got to look around here because I have my TikTok thing here. Let me see here. This brand that Maya has partnered with on a 3-video contract is offering her the same money as almost a year ago, and the 3 videos she did have over 400K views. Okay, so one concept that I teach in my course is called value stacking. And what this means is that basically when you're trying to craft a proposal for a brand that you have had some good experience with, you don't just have to use value stacking with a, kind of a partnership that you're trying to, trying to ink, but like from someone you've already worked with. But this is really the only way that you should be pitching brands who you're trying to like upsell them, get a higher rate than you used to in the past. And so with this particular situation, Hannity, what I would do is I would put together a high level overview of the performance of those last 3 videos. So you go, like you said, they have over 400,000 views. You can get these top level metrics. You can look at likes. You can look at engagement rate on those videos. You can start screenshotting comments from those videos about how amazing, the video was, especially the ones where people talk about how, I went and I purchased something, a piece of clothing from that site, or I went and I downloaded the app. I don't know what the brand was, but like, get like even anecdotal feedback that this partnership that, the brand did with you was amazing. Right. So, and then, other stats that, will help summarize the partnership. Right. So you've got, you turned around the content in, on an average of 5 days for each thing, or like other metrics that are interesting that essentially illustrate to the brand about how amazing of a partner you are. Right. And so you value stack all those things. And then when you come back to them, it's not just about, hey, I want to do the same thing for you again. It's like, no, I would love to do that same thing for you again. But in addition to that, here's another way that I think we could be valuable to you. We will create exclusive content that lives on your handles, or we will create exclusive content that doesn't even go live on Maya's page, but you can use them specifically for paid advertising, right? So other things where they start to illustrate the additional value that you're going to be bringing to this partnership. And yes, the investment is going to be 3 times as much as it was initially. But I think what times is, a lot of times, like here's the brand's perspective. It's like, they're probably not just working with you, right? They're working with lots of other creators. And so, it's sometimes, especially if they've worked with you over, several months, it's going to be very difficult for them to even remember how awesome you were. So the onus is on you to kind of summarize all this information so that when you come back to them with this pitch, it's like, oh, wow, that's actually, I had forgotten all that stuff like that. Yeah, Hannity and Maya they're amazing creators. We definitely want to work with them. And like, we understand now that she's, kind of laying all this out for this. Like it's obvious to us now that like, she's grown significantly. The videos like outperformed the way, what our expectations initially. But what it takes is like you to actually, kind of bring that to the forefront of their mind and be like, this makes sense now. This is like very clear to me why, they can justify this higher rate that they're offering us. So that's really my mindset here, Hannity, is like going back to them armed with this, like all this information and details. So rather than the other thing too, I think that a lot of creators don't realize is that adding the words because when you are trying to pitch a higher rate, it doesn't matter what you say after the word because, but just the very nature of providing an explanation rather than being like, hey, my rate is now 15,000, right? But no justification of why it's 15,000. It's much easier for the brand to just be like, okay, well, sorry, like we're only gonna be willing to pay you this. But there's like a lot of studies and human psychological research that has done around this, but it's like when you provide even any justification, obviously, hopefully it's a good one. You've got data to back it up. And like we're talking about, you put together kind of a case study about all this, but like when you provide a justification, a brand is much more willing to entertain that because at the very least you believe it, right? There's like a reason that you've increased your rates, right? So just like start having that mindset. If you want to charge a brand that you've been working with more money, you just need to add the word because, and then figure out what your justification is, because it'll just add more weight to your counter proposal. So hopefully that's helpful, Hannity. Fernando says, I'm assuming I have so many video ideas. I would love a review of a negotiation with the brand that one of your viewers did for feedback. I would volunteer as tribute. Yes, Fernanda, this is so great. I love this idea. Can you DM me or email me? I would love this. And you probably just saw the video that I just made. I redacted the name of the brand, so I'm happy to do that too. Like we don't have to like say who the name of the brand was. But yeah, I would love to start analyzing people's negotiations. That's a fantastic idea. Let's do that. Like please DM me, please email me. That's a really wonderful idea. So great one. If you have other video ideas too, Fernanda, yes, please. That sounds amazing. Nadia joining the chat. Hey, Blended Beauty, thanks for DIY with Dana. Thanks for tuning in. Dana, did I see you in the School of Esperanza membership guest speaking thing? I'm pretty sure that was you. I could be wrong though. I've had a lot of new followers come in recently, and I'm fairly sure that was you. So anyway, say hi if that's you. Yes. Fernanda said, yes, I did see it. I'll forward you the one that replied, then ghosted. Okay. Yes. Great to know. Great to know. And just FYI, Fernanda, I'm starting to plan my videos out like quite a bit in advance. So, probably won't be able to make a video about it for, a month or so or whatever, but please do that. I'm trying to line all these up. Yes. Moccasin Mama said, I like that idea too. Do you have a negotiation you would like me to analyze? I'll redact everything and we'll talk about it. I think that would be a lot of fun. That would be cool. Fernanda, what would actually be cool is I should probably like interview you too. We'll like get on camera and you can like talk about your mindset, about like where you were with the negotiation. We'll like interject the like footage of you like talking about where your mindset was at each part of the negotiation. I'm loving this idea. What do you think of that? I think that's a cool idea. So let's set this up. DM me or email me. That's better. Other questions. Handy said about this follow up about what we were just talking about. I sent them a whole case study. We had a great relationship throughout the whole contract, but they still came back with the same offer. Yeah. So the cold truth of it, and this is one thing that I talk about in my video about being ghosted or about, trying to negotiate with a brand, is sometimes even after doing all of that, they still won't play game. And that's just kind of the cold truth of it. That sometimes brands still will not be willing to play ball with you when it comes to this type of thing. And these are the types of relationships where sometimes you may have to let them go. I talk about this quite a bit on like finding your ideal brand partners, or even like this comes into play when you have, brands that are offering you free product or gifted collaborations, but they won't be willing to pay you, or they're just like willing to pay you very little. And maybe you've been doing it because it's like money and you're like, oh, like I just, it sucks. I want them to pay me more, but like, it's money. Right. And I get that, like, that's like your utility bill, or that's your like rent, or that's like whatever, your car note, right? It's like money. It's like hard to turn it down. But I am a big believer that sometimes it really does require you to start saying no to some of these, onesie twosie type deals, or brands who are not willing to pay you what you're really worth, because you can free up your mental real estate and to concentrate on the brands who will compensate you and will pay you what you're worth. And so it's a hard thing too, though, because it's like when you don't have that other deal in hand already, it's hard to like, you've got something in your fist right there. It's like money, but it's like, oh, this like uncertainty of like, I'm not knowing if I'm going to get this other deal that's going to pay me more. It's hard, but I am a big believer in the fact that it's like you have to have an abundance mindset when it comes to this kind of thing. And you just shift your energy to starting to pitch, the types of brands that you want to be partnering with, the types of brands that you're seeing are partnering with other creators, larger creators, who obviously have more of a robust budget. It's just, it's very much comes down to a mindset thing, in my opinion, so that you can just start getting paid what you're worth. So, my cold advice here, or my actual advice here, Hannity, and maybe not the one you want to hear, but maybe this means saying no, and saying like, hey, look, I really appreciate that. But this is the investment to work with us is now this. I completely understand if that's not the case, but if your budget may change in the future, let's stay in touch or something. And what you'll be amazed by, Hannity, I guarantee you, and it may not happen in this scenario, but oftentimes this will happen, is that you putting your foot down and saying no, sometimes the brands will come back and be like, okay, well, we moved some numbers around and we can afford this. Maybe it's not coming up to the full rate you were asked for, but it's like meeting you halfway or meeting you 75% of the way or something like that. That has happened to us so many times, right? Because brands and agencies are really not used to creators pushing back very much. And so sometimes they're just trying to like play hardball and see if you're willing to like accept this much lower rate. But sometimes you'd be surprised. Like sometimes they will actually say like, oh, you know what? Oh, now that we realize you are really not going to do it for this rate, like we can actually afford this or something like that. So just wanted to give you that food for thought. KMH Handy said, yes, I definitely feel like that, especially when it's about the valued time and effort that my baby girl is worth. Yeah, Hannity is talking about her daughter Maya. So anyways, hopefully this is helpful. Got a question in the IG or the TikTok chat. Please make a video on contract reading or any hidden clauses to be aware of. That's a great one. That's a really interesting one. I've always like shied away kind of from specifically giving advice about language and contracts. I did talk a little bit about contract stuff in my newest video, how I lost $24,000 on a sponsorship. But the reason is that I'm not a lawyer. I have, I always have to give the disclosure that I am not a lawyer, and please consult legal counsel if you're ever, entering into any sort of partnership with a brand. Have someone review the contract if you can. But I do, I have reviewed thousands, like literally over 1,000 sponsorship contracts by now for sure. So I do have some expertise there. So I don't know. I just need to think about that. I just don't, the last thing I want to have happen is like, providing some sort of legal guidance or legal analysis or anything like that. And then some creator just kind of like takes that and runs and doesn't consult a lawyer on a new deal that they do. And then something happens. Right. So that's kind of like the last thing that I'm not like concerned that like a creator is going to sue me or something. It's more just like, I don't want to see like set that precedent and see someone not, succeed. I do have some brand deal contracts templates in like are provided that when you enroll for my course, there's like a lot of resources, but those contracts have been blessed by lawyers, so it's like I'm very comfortable kind of providing those and just again providing the disclosure that I'm not a lawyer. But anyways, I don't know, it's just kind of a gray area that I just need to think about a little bit more. But I appreciate that idea. It is a good idea because I know that is like a major sticking point. The reason that's a major sticking point for a lot of creators is because many times a deal that you're doing with the brand may, like the amount that they're paying you may not be, maybe it's a couple $100, and like to hire a lawyer to review the contract is going to be $500 an hour or something. And then, boom, right there, you're like break even, or you've lost money on the deal. Right. And so the advice that I always give there with that type of thing, especially when you're starting out, is that if you are starting to make money from brand partnerships and, you're running into scenarios where you're partnering with brands, but they don't have contracts and they're, oh, like we don't have a contract. We're just new to doing this. Do you have they ask you, do you have a contract template that you can send us? I think it's an absolutely like awesome investment to just like hire a lawyer and have them create a boilerplate contract template for you where all you edit is the very last page, where it's basically kind of like called the appendix, and so everything else in the contract just kind of covers you with all the basic kind of legal terms that's been kind of like blessed by a lawyer. And then the appendix is the only thing that you edit on a monthly or, on a deal per deal basis. And, that includes the, what posts are you going to do? How much are they going to pay you? If there's any, usage rights, what the exclusivity is, this type of thing. And so I think that that's like a very worthwhile investment as a creator to hire a lawyer, even if you don't have a deal in hand, right? It's like you are making money. This is your business, right? This is like a very critical thing that, for you to be covered legally. And so it behooves you to invest. If you had any other business, you have to invest in things. If you have an Etsy business, you have to invest in the t-shirts to stamp your logo on it, or you have to, invest in something. It's the cost of doing business, right? It in the business world, it's called COGS, the cost of goods sold, right? There's a cost associated with making that revenue. It's the same with a creator. I don't know, why creators and influencers don't think about this. Is like, you have to invest in yourself, invest in your business, business to be able to make that money and protect yourself and invest in your knowledge and your education, right? And so investing in a lawyer and paying them $500 or $1,000 or whatever, but then at the end of that, you have this contract template where now moving forward, any deals that you do, you feel protected, right? That's an absolutely worthwhile investment, right? So I just think it's you have to start shifting your mindset to like, and by the way, that is why you have to invest in your knowledge, and boom, the next cohort of my Brand Deal Wizard course is opening in 10 days. January 31st. I'm so stoked for this, guys. I made that transition because it's like, again, investing in your knowledge. If you want to start making more money on sponsorships, right? And you know that, you probably are leaving money on the table. That is exactly what my course is all about. I help you find and negotiate your dream sponsorship so that you stop leaving thousands on the table. It's a 4-week live course where over Zoom, I teach you a bunch of material. Week 1 is all about, pitching and finding the right brand contacts, having the right mindset to really start negotiating what you're worth. Week 2 is all about pricing and negotiation strategy. Week 3 is all about execution of the campaign. So you're actually, people like totally gloss over this fact, but it's like, how do you actually work with the brand and have it be this incredible experience so they actually want to hire you again, right? And week 4 is all about nurturing brands. So it's like, how do you actually make them want to work with you again? How can you follow up at strategic points and things like that too? So if you want to find out more information about Brand Deal Wizard, go to branddealwizard.com. Hold on. I think I have a caption. I have like a little, do I have it in here? branddealwizard.com. Of course I do. Boom. branddealwizard.com. Join the waitlist. This is the waitlist because you didn't hear it from me, but I usually give people on the waitlist early access to enroll because spots are limited. I'm going to be limiting it to 50 creators for this cohort. So if you really want to get in, make sure to join the waitlist because spots are going to go fast. And I open the waitlist probably 1 or 2 days early to folks on that list. So definitely check that out. And then there was a comment here that I missed. Hold on. I wanted to mention, oh my gosh, Hannity just gave me a $10 super chat. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your time and all your knowledge you share and your advice. Hannity, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Anytime you guys give me a super chat, I'm always so like flattered and appreciative. I'm never expecting that. But it is always like very, very appreciative. You have just, the super chats on Friday, let me be totally honest what I do with them. April and I have what we call No Cook Friday. So we order food for dinner on Friday night. We do a movie night for the kids. We do a whole spread. So every time that you guys do a super chat, that goes into our Friday night No Cook Friday fund. And so you probably just bought an appetizer for us right there, Hannity. So thank you for that. That really, really does mean a lot to me. And we have an amazing comment from Marcus here. Not a question this time. I just wanted to say that I signed my first paid brand deal for €1,000. Thank you for all the tips and encouragement. Holy cow, Marcus. Marcus, for those of you guys who don't know, Marcus has been tuning into this chat. How many months have you been tuning into this chat, Marcus? Probably, 4 or 5 months by now. I'm not even, maybe it's longer than that. And you've been absorbing all the advice. And you have been like executing on all that stuff. And Marcus is living proof right now that if you watch this live stream, right, and you educate yourself and you learn a lot of this stuff, learn about negotiation, have more confidence, right, that is going to like directly lead to €1,000 brand deals for you. So boom, Marcus, congratulations. Marcus says from the beginning, I think you've been watching. So I appreciate that so much. Fernando said, D and Fam and I were just chatting this morning. I found out that we have to pay taxes on gifted items above a certain amount. Yes, this is something that not a lot of creators think about. What's the retail value of these gifted items that you're getting, these free products? Technically, according, at least in the US, according to the IRS, you do have to pay taxes on those because it is something of value. And Fernanda said, so if a brand just gives you something, not only do you not make money, but you have to pay money if it's a pricey item. That's exactly right. Most creators don't do this kind of thing, but like if you're a professional creator, you should be doing these types of things, right? So you're right. Like there is non-trivial costs associated with accepting free products that a lot of people don't think about. And so, yeah, it's like one of those things. It's like, that's another reason why, it makes sense to, talk to brands about why they should be compensating you for these types of partnerships. Nadia says, no Cook Friday is nice. I need to do that more often. That's exactly right. KY Makeup Junkie in the TikTok chat said, don't the brands pay taxes on those items that they send out to PR? Yeah, they pay taxes, but you have to pay taxes too. They're not paying it on your behalf. They're not asking you for your W-9 form, are they? Maybe they are, but I highly doubt it, right? They're paying taxes, but you're not. You have to, because it's something that you're receiving. It's something of value. Again, like, this is something that flies under the radar. Not a lot of people think about it. The other thing too is that you can, if you're not making a ton of money on this type of thing, under a certain amount, like, you can add up, the value of these like PR stuff that you're receiving. And if it's under a certain amount, then you basically are like not taxed on it. But it is definitely something to think about. Marcus Present says, another potential surprise cost is import duty you may have to pay, right? If you send it from a different country, for example, from the US to the EU. That's exactly right. It's like, if you're receiving something from a US brand and you're in the UK or, wherever in the EU, there's a VAT or like an import tax that you have to pay. So it's like something, I know it can be pretty steep. Like, we sent a giveaway winner something in Romania. I think it was Romania. And we didn't even realize this, that they had to pay like, I don't know, something crazy like 50 or 60 euro to be able to like get it. And like, we want to cover stuff like that. If we're, we had no idea though, but it's like, we definitely want to be covering stuff like that so that people don't have to pay those costs. But yeah, something to think about, like, when you're deciding to accept free product from a brand or an agency, right? I'm going to take a swig. I've been talking for 50 minutes straight. If you have any questions about brand deals, sponsorships, negotiations, let me know in the chat. Okay, one other thing that I want to announce real quickly. I wasn't planning on this, but since D is in the chat, I wanted to mention this. We're doing something new for this cohort of Brand Deal Wizard that I'm really excited about, which is that we are going to be having weekly office hours. And it's actually going to be led by D. I've been working with D for the last, I don't even, how many months have we been working together, D? But D is like, if there was any star student, D is like the absolute archetype of like someone who has taken all of the, frameworks and methodologies and things that I've taught in the live streams and in my courses and things like that over the last year and a half or whatever. And she literally does all of them and even takes it to another level and she has had so much success, doing this. And so I've started working more closely with Dee. She helps with my newsletter. She helps with my private Facebook group. She helps with the private community for the course. And I have asked Dee if she would be willing to, and I actually interviewed Dee when we did like an additional Zoom session for last cohort where we brought her in. She talked all about confidence and how that has, how she's grown in her confidence over the, last number of years as a creator. And so I admire Dee in so many ways. And so I basically have asked Dee, would you be willing to host these office hour sessions? So we're probably gonna be hosting them 2 different times per week, where it's a forum for people to, come in and ask questions. And it's not necessarily about the course subject matter per se, but I have like 100% confidence in her that she's going to kill it. So we're going to be trying out this new thing, and I'm really excited for her to take over that. And so it's gonna be really fun. So if that sounds exciting to you, then join the wait list, because Dee is stellar at this kind of stuff, and it's going to be a really great forum for people to share, ask questions and share all this stuff. I've gotten so much feedback that's one of the reasons that people have loved being a part of Brand Deal Wizard and joining the alumni and things like that too, because they meet this really amazing group of people that they feel comfortable sharing kind of candid things about their creator business that they just don't feel comfortable sharing on social media publicly, right? So it's like, this negotiation came in. What do I do? How would you respond to this email? This brand offered me this. What would you say? Like this type of, it's just like, it's hard stuff if you don't have like a existing network of creator friends that you could talk with about this stuff. And the other challenging thing too is that if you do have creator friends, they're not all of them always are super business savvy. Sometimes they'll be giving you advice that you're just like, I don't know, that doesn't sound like a great idea, right? So it's like, it really helps to have another group of like-minded people who understand that this is a business, who understand that they want to be professional. Actually, I need to add that into the site. I've never really talked about that aspect, but that's like a really big point of this, is like, you want to be surrounded with other creators who are business savvy, not just other creators, period. You want to be surrounded with other creators who are looking to improve and understand the value of like learning and negotiating and all this stuff, right? I gotta add that to like my sales page for the course. Like, hold on, let me make it. I'm gonna forget, because if I don't make a note about that, I'm gonna forget. So here we go, real quick. I'm making a note to myself. This is like live, guys. Add to sales page that you want to be surrounded by creators who are business savvy, not just any creator. Boom. You guys think that's valuable too? Because I kind of think it is. I kind of do too. Okay. We got a question. Oh, yes. Yeah, we got some hype, a bunch of hype in the chat for D. Boom. So excited. Yeah, D says we're going to strategize and work smarter moving forward and landing the ops we all deserve. Yes. Sounds amazing. Thank you, D. I'm so blessed to have you as a partner. Okay. Lori Manoli. Manoli, is that an I at the end? I think so. Ideas on my first brand deal. I've done promoting and wine gadgets, nutrition, vitamins, hair, and skincare. Lori, can you provide a little bit of information? Is this a question or a statement? I don't know what your question is. Are you asking what should be your first brand deal? Or you've already promoted these things? Or these video ideas you want me to do? I'm just kind of curious. Let me know. I don't know what your question. I don't know what you're saying to me, but I would love to answer you. Dalesovic. Join in the IG chat. Wow, I just butchered your username. Sorry about that. Thanks for joining. Yeah. So Lori, Lori, let me know what you're talking about, because I'm not quite sure. The other thing I'm really excited about, guys, I'm gonna give you a little preview, because this like absolutely killed me. I hired a new thumbnail artist. I'm testing out a new thumbnail artist because the one thing about my channel, I've talked about this before, which is a little challenging, is that I rebranded my YouTube channel. I had, 40,000 subscribers roughly from a dormant channel that I had made, many years ago. I had made over 500 videos all about just like general life advice. And I stopped making videos for like, I don't know, 4 or 5 years. It was a while. And then, so when I decided to start making content for creators about 1.5 years ago, I was like, oh, why should I make a new channel? I'll just like dust off this one and like rebrand it, private all the videos, and make a new header and rename the channel, etc. But the challenge is that every time my new videos go live and they are served to subscription boxes for, all those people, all 40,000, basically a big chunk of those 40,000 people, they didn't subscribe to me for videos about being a creator. Most of them are not creators, right? And so every single time that person chooses not to click that video in their feed, that tells YouTube that my videos are no longer relevant, right? Which sucks. And so even people who have subscribed to me recently, a lot of times they're not getting served the video, because the vast majority of my audience who have subscribed to me are not clicking on it. So one of my things that I posited is that like, I just need to make, I work so hard on these videos, like editing, and I hire an editor. I mean, the planning, scripting, like filming it, like I hire editors to like make it really compelling. But it's like, if they're not clicking on the video, no one's going to see it. So that's why like your thumbnails and your titles are so critical, because it's like 50% of the battle. Like you can kill yourself making these amazing videos, but if no one's clicking on it, you're lost. Like 50% of people, right? And so I decided, I was like, I'm going to invest in this. I'm going to like hire like a thumbnail editor, a new one to try out. And the last thumbnail that they made for me, I was really happy with. So if you haven't seen the video, let me just show you the thumbnail that they made, and then I'm going to show you the new one, because I was like absolutely dead when I saw this. Hold on, let me pull this up. I'm going to share my screen. So this was, there's 2 options. But this was let me like make my screen bigger. Let me share my screen. Those of you in the IG chat may have a hard time seeing this, and TikTok, you won't see this. Sorry. But check this out. So very like way better than the thumbnails I was doing before. Super compelling. Right. And then the other variation that they gave on that was this one. Let me show you this one. Let me show you this one. I'm just showing you because I like to A/B test my thumbnails. This one I really liked. Some people said that this would like felt like it looked more bored than like upset that we lost a $24,000 sponsorship. But I don't know. I love the composition of this one a little bit more, so I'm like A/B testing them to see which one worked. And then the thumbnail that I wanted to show you that they just sent me. This is the thumbnail for how it's called "How to Survive Your First Negotiation." Like, check this one out, guys. I hope you really like this one. This is what I'm really gonna see. Like, look at that. Look at that. How to survive your first negotiation. What do we think about this? What do we think about that? Yeah, I was really happy with that one. But anyways, so it's like, I'm just like really trying to like step up my game. It's just, I don't know. It's really fun to like, again, like I've been doing this over a decade, but it's like I'm still trying to improve. I'm hiring people much smarter than me to try to take my stuff to the next level. So, I got, I mentioned that earlier in the stream that we had hired Patty Galloway to help, look at our analytics and stuff like that, provide some recommendations. And he left a comment. He doesn't, I don't even like, ever since I hired him, I didn't like think he ever watched my videos or anything like that, but he left a comment on the video. He said, I cannot believe, I don't even remember what he said, but I cannot believe the incredible improvement from the first video I have seen. Like, it's that incredible. Let me actually pull it up because it was like and basically it was like, to me, it was like, basically I said, like, this is going to keep me going for the next 100 videos, right? You underestimate the impact that you can have on other creators, like especially people who, maybe kind of admire you. When you leave comments on their channel and just being like, hey, like that was really well done. This is a really good video. Like, people really like take that to heart. It like means a lot to them, especially if they're like, really trying to like improve and things like that too. So I don't know. I just wanted to mention that comment that like, you don't know the impact that you potentially have on other people. And so anyways, I wanted to like mention that, like, saying nice things to people, especially for other creators, can have a big impact on people. Lori clarified, live promotions in person. I want to pivot to online. Interesting. So yeah, I mean, that's I would basically, if I were you, I would try to lean on my expertise of doing these in-person things. So you can essentially kind of showcase to, these potential brands that you want to work with, that, you have this expertise, doing live in-person events, so you have experience working with brands and things like that in the past, but here's your capabilities and here's your knowledge that, you can help them start to, think about their online presence and how they can advertise. One of my favorite tactics when it comes to this, especially if you don't have like a huge track record of like working with brands online and things like that, you don't have a lot of like case studies, would be to help brands who don't really understand social media help take their social presence to the next level. So the pitch that you're giving to those brands, Lori, is not, hey, like, let me promote you on my platforms. It's more like, hey, let me help you grow your TikTok, or let me help you grow your YouTube, or let me help you grow whatever, because then you get the experience and then you can use that as a case study. So the next time that you want to partner with a brand on your platform, you can be like, hey, like, I have this case study where I actually helped this other brand grow their platforms. And so that's all the credibility that you need to basically be able to like convince a brand to like work with you on your platform, right? So that's like kind of a tactic that you can use to kind of get that experience on your belt when you don't have a ton of it initially. So hopefully that helps you. Anyways, we're at time, y'all. An hour just flew by. Thank you so much again. Hannity, thank you for the super chat. That always means so much to me. I appreciate each and every one of you joining so much. If you have any interest in participating in my Brand Deal Wizard course, again, I would highly recommend that you check out the waitlist and get on that, because spots are going to go quickly. Let me pull it back up the URL real quickly. I also have it in the description box. I'm going to be starting to, send out, if you're on my email list, I'm going to start sending out more emails about what's entailed it and things like that. Some of the testimonials, some of the insane testimonials that we've been getting, of creators that have participated, literally going from charging, earning. One creator like recently sent me a testimonial that she was charging, earning $1,400 to $2,000 a month on partnering. And after 2 weeks of being in the program, she had signed $30,000 of brand partnerships, and now she's making between $40,000 and $50,000 every single month. So it can have a very big impact on your business. And in fact, I am actually most likely going to be increasing the investment for the course next cohort, not this one, but the next one, for a variety of reasons, but it's likely going to double. So if you really do want to participate, you're probably going to want to get in right now, because the amount of, like, honestly, the way I look at it also, not just the amount of things that we're adding to the course, like the office hours and things like that too, but it's like, the disparity in terms of the outcomes that I'm getting for people. It's like the investment to ROI ratio is insane. And so that's like another thing on my mind, but also it's like, I want to continuously be able to improve the offering. So it's like, whether that means office hours or whether that means additional resources and, people that I need to add to my team to like be very present for all the, especially as the cohort sizes are increasing and I need to provide infrastructure, customer service, and like support for people to ensure that they are, really getting the value out of it. That's something that I want to invest back into the business. And to be able to do that, I need to like increase the price probably. Right. So, Casey Castella in the IG chat said it's worth the money. I appreciate that so much. That really means a lot to me, Casey. And Marlene says Life with Mar said, is your course geared more towards influencers and YouTubers, or is it helpful for bloggers too? It absolutely is helpful for bloggers, Marlene. It's all about, it is, I would say, like, a lot of campaigns like that brands are wanting to run these days have a social media component, whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, whatever. But I have had lots of bloggers go through the program and have found a lot of value from it, because a lot of it is mindset related. It's like, getting better at negotiation strategy. So if you're doing, and just like also understanding what you're worth, understanding how you can be charging a lot more money than you currently are for the deliverables that, the brands are offering you. So it's whether it's blog posts or, some social media amplification or things like that too. Fernando said it best in the chat here. BDW, Brand Deal Wizard, is helpful for any content creator. I would recommend it for podcasters too. Interesting. Anyone running a content creation business too. That's actually like not a market that I've really targeted or marketed to, interestingly, Fernanda, but it's interesting you say that. I'll have to think about that. But yeah, Marlene, if you have any questions about the program, feel free to DM me. I'm happy to answer that. But yeah, I will say that, as a blogger, like, it's definitely going to help you, because a lot of it comes down to like understanding how to create a much more robust structure to your sponsorship strategy. Last point I'll make here just about this point, which is that it's too late when you're saying like, oh, like, I don't know, like I don't have much deal flow right now. Like, I don't know where the next, my next paycheck is going to come from a sponsor, and I better go out and start hustling and like, try to apply on Aspire IQ or on Quotient or on wherever to like try to apply for deals. That's too late, right? Because as it's going to take a while for you to like, find a brand that's willing to pay you, for you to create the content, for you to, revise the content if the brand wants you to, for you to actually post it, for you to invoice them, and then wait another 30 to 60 days to actually get paid, et cetera, et cetera. I have a whole whole spiel about this aspect, but just the mindset is like, you need to have what I call a sponsorship pipeline, so that you have multiple brands and agencies at different points in your negotiation process, whether it's pitching, whether it's first of all, discovery, whether it's pitching, whether it's negotiation, you're hooking the brand, you're talking about it. Then you're in the contracting phase. Then you're in the concepting phase, where you actually have to get the brand to agree that, hey, this the content that you're planning on creating is actually green-lighted by us, that this is what we actually want you to do. Then you create the content, then there's the revision round, then there's the posting round, then there's the invoicing. So it's like you have to have like brands and agencies all along this process, so that you smooth out some of the lumpiness that you have as a creator, right? And so anyways, like, I go through this whole spiel in a lot more detail in my course and things like that too, but DM me if you have any follow-up questions. So anyways, thank you to everyone so much for joining today. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. And anything I missed, if you have any video ideas, especially if you have any video ideas for me, I'm always hungry for that type of stuff. Please DM me, please shoot me an email. I would love that so much. So anyways, we'll talk to y'all soon, and we'll see you back next Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, back on the live stream. All right. See ya.